Hello and welcome to my channel. I just saw this video and I decided to share it with us. You see, I've never had it this way. It is important you hear this video. There is a reason I want us to hear this video, and afterwards I will make my comments. I have never had it this way. I know that the Middlebelt people were instrumental in stopping Biafra, but the reasons is not same with what this guy said. We are going to look at it then and now, and I will know what you think. But there's something important I will say about this after this video.
Good day, fellow Nigerians. Today I want to talk about the reason why we resisted Biafra in 1967. The main reason why we resisted Biafra in 1967 was because of the fear of the minority tribes. As we all know, the Igbos as the majority tribe is also the majority Christians, and their place maintains a balance between Christians and Muslims in Nigeria. Their exit from Nigeria posed a threat to the minority Christians and tribes that will be left behind. They will be at the mercy of the majority Muslims. Back then, it was based on tribe, but with everything that has happened, with the Fulanis having exposed themselves or sold themselves out by taking up arms against every other tribe in Nigeria, it is now obvious that the threat is the Fulanis and not religion, so to speak. Because if the Hausas were in their rightful place as one of the majority tribes in Nigeria, if they are not being controlled or dominated politically by the Fulanis, this threat will not be there. Because the Hausas has never given us or Nigeria a problem. Never! And we all know that the Hausas are the most welcoming people in Nigeria. Most welcoming. And we have actually never had a religious problem with them, so to speak. Of course, there have been religious clashes in Kaduna back then, but I am not sure if you trace back, there must be the hand of the Fulanis in those religious crises back then in Kaduna. And so, it is now obvious that the threat of the minority has always been the Fulanis, or the threat of every other tribe in Nigeria has always been the Fulanis. And so, if the Igbos are actually serious about Biafra or existing Nigeria, then we must all work together for the liberation of the Hausas and also the Yorubas because of their emirate in Ilorin. All these emirates that were conquered, or these kingdoms that were conquered in the 1800s, we must liberate them. We must liberate them. And so if Trump is to come, the fight will be for the liberation of the Hausas and the Yorubas. With the liberation of the Hausas and the Yorubas, I can guarantee you, or that I'm assuring you, that the fear of the minorities will be eliminated completely. And we can as well back off, or the minorities will now back off from the exit of the Igbos. But if you say, of course, it doesn't concern you, why should you care about the fear of the minorities then? These same minorities will become a force against you in your exit. And their position will always be considered even by the international community. And so, we must work for the liberation of the Hausas and the Yorubas. Only then can Biafra be a feasible agenda. Thank you.
Did you hear what I just heard? Today we are going to be talking about something very important. Something many Nigerians don't even understand clearly. You know, have you ever pondered on that? Why the Middlebelt decided to join the North to fight Biafra in 1967? And they were very instrumental in that fight, actually. But, you know, have you asked yourself, why is the same Middlebelt overwhelmed today? Today, the same Middlebelt is crying for help. And they are afraid to be left alone if Biafra stands up again. Have you ever wondered about that? That is what this guy is echoing. They are afraid. The other day, I saw Middlebelt group coming to apologize for their getting involved in the war against Biafra. That was about 2-3 years ago. I shared the video here. I think so. But, you know, they were very instrumental in trying to bring Biafra down. And the leader of the Nigerian government that fought Biafra is from Middlebelt, Gowan. And one of the people who are key in that government too, Danjuma, is from Middlebelt. But today, the Middlebelt is crying for help. Let us break this thing down. You need to understand. As at 1967, you will not hear anything like Middlebelt. You not hear anything like Middlebelt. Then they were part of the North, what is considered Northern Nigeria. Yeah. There's nothing like Middlebelt, or you not even hear anything like North Central, North East, North South. I think North, their whole North. You know, in that divide and rule, IGBO map, Wayo map. So, the British in their wicked colonial map actually forced Middlebelt into Northern Nigeria. They are not supposed to be Northern Nigeria. They had no separate voice. They had no political identity. They had no power of their own. So it's like they were merged, probably against their will. So when the Northern leaders decided to go to war against Biafra, the Middlebelt was dragged along automatically. They had no autonomy. Maybe they could not say no. And they have one purpose: we are not. And up to today, a meeting of the Northern state, you realize Middlebelt states are still part of the meeting up to today. You hear Unongo of Benue State telling them, speaking against the South. So it's like they don't have a say of their own, even during the war. They are in one body called North. And this is what I think many Nigerians do not also know. Now, why they fought Biafra then? No, I'm not talking about now. Did they believe the North's propaganda that Igbos were a problem of Nigeria? I think yes, they did. Many of them did. But that was because maybe the general information then was controlled by the North. So the Middlebelt was told that even our own, the minorities in the South too, I think they have the same notion, some of them. They were told, Igbos wants to dominate Nigeria. They were told, Biafra mean trouble for the whole of Nigeria. They were told supporting the North will protect their own interests. So they joined the war effort. I also think part of it was confusion and manipulation. That is what I think, part of the reason. But you notice that today the story has changed. Fast forward to today, the Middlebelt has not seen the true picture. They have tested the same thing Igbos complained about. The killings, the banditry, the land grabbing, the religious pressure, the political domination, the marginalization. So many Middlebelt communities are overwhelmed, helpless, and crying. They thought Igbos were the real enemy. Everybody thought Igbos were the real enemy. But they never realized Igbo is nobody's enemy. Now, let's look at why they fear Biafra today. Listen very carefully. This is like a teaching. The Middlebelt is not afraid because they hate Biafra. That's today, from the way I'm seeing it today, today's presentation. But I think their fear is because of abandonment now. Their fear now, maybe, their fear now, I'm thinking, is because they might be abandoned. Fear of abandonment. If Biafra goes, they believe they will be left alone with northern domination. They believe they will lose their land. Already in part of Middlebelt, there are areas people have run away from ancestral home because of what is going on. So they fear they will lose their land more. They are already losing their land. They fear they will lose more. They fear they will face insecurity. They fear they will not have allies to speak for them. And this is why they keep saying, Igbos should support us, or we may repeat what we did in 1967. From all of what that guy said in that video, he's trying to tell you, you must not leave us. If you leave us, we have no option than to join the other side. And I don't know the situation as in 1967. Let me not be totally sure. But presently, this is what he's saying. But my people, I think this particular statement is coming from the angle of fear. It is not from the angle of strength. It is fear. Fear is the problem. In 1967, they had the full power of the northern region behind them. Today, the same structure has weakened them. Should I say nemesis? In some quarters, you hear things like that. Igbos were never their problem, and Igbos were never anybody's problem in Nigeria. The war against Igbo was, a lot of people fought the war out of misconception. And today, the truth is very clear. Igbos were never their problem. Igbos were never the problem. Igbos do not invade people's land. Do you notice that? Igbos do not impose any religion on you. Igbos do not control people by force. Igbos do not use militia or dominate others politically. If you realize, Igbos work on their land. Whatever they do is in their land. As in terms of maybe a little of the militancy, agitation, mostly in their land. But generally, Igbos build, Igbos do trade, Igbos live peacefully everywhere. And you see that. Their only offense in Nigeria is asking for justice, fairness, and freedom. Which, when they did not get that, they said, we want to succeed. That is the only offense of an Igbo. Do you see that as an offense? And the Middlebelt knows this. And today, they are beginning to see Igbos as natural allies. For the first time in decades, the Middlebelt youths, the Middlebelt activists, their traditional rulers, their pastors, their scholars are openly saying they need the South, Igbos in particular. They say they need our unity. They need restructuring. They need real federalism. They need political independence to survive. And that is why you hear more recently Middlebelt. Those days you don't hear Middlebelt. And some people say North Central. Some of them hate that identity. But my surprise is that when you call on a meeting of the Northern State governors, the Middlebelt governors, still, we're going to shine on the eyes. So what happened was that the North used them in 1967 and later abandoned them. Now, the only stable, disciplined, peace-loving partner they see is the Igbo nation. This is the new reality. The new political reality. So yes, the Middlebelt helped crush Biafra in 1967. That is true. But they were not independent. Today, they are the ones under pressure. They are the ones crying out. They are the ones begging for support. They are the ones realizing that Igbos were never their enemies. The real enemy is Nigeria's injustice. That is the real enemy. And it is now clear that if justice was given, there would be no secession demand. What brings about secession? Injustice. If fairness has existed, Igbos will not feel betrayed. But up to today, and if truth was allowed, Nigeria would not be where it is today. What do you think, viewers? Add your comment on the comment section. Please share this video widely. Bye-bye for now.